So here's the folder that I'm going to work with. It's got 10 images that I want to work with. And also, I've never shown y'all also just in terms of looking at the size maybe and some of the metadata on some of these photos that we have here. There are some variations. Let's see. If I go to view, I can, if I pull up the details pane, you know, probably on either operating system, Windows or Apple. Normally I can see some of the information about the images that I'm working with. Each image here is 4,000 by 3,000 pixels. Each individual image is a file size right now, 2 megabytes, and it does have some of the shooting information also. Pretty much most digital cameras now, or all digital cameras now, do record that metadata of your camera settings. But those are the 10 images that I want to work with. And again, the first software I want to show you is IRFANVIEW. The file associations on this computer are already set. IRFANVIEW is an image handler. It's a very small software, but it's actually a very robust software in being able to do these sort of batch processes. So I'm just going to click on this, and that image opens automatically into IRFANVIEW. The way that I look at and see my batch processing functions is I just go to File, Batch Conversion, Rename, and again, it's telling me that I could, if I wanted to, rename a series of images. But the first thing I need to do is choose the photos that I want to actually change. Right now, I'm looking in the correct folder, but it would only change the files that are in this area here. So I need to place all of these down there. So basically here, I'm going to add all of those files. And then, again, the first thing that I want to do, or really, I just want to show you the different things that IRFANVIEW can do. And again, one of the most important things is I need to place the resulting files in this same folder. So right here, it's asking me for my output directory. So I'm going to go to Browse and go directly to the folder so that it's going to place the resulting files in there. And let's see. To see some of the other functions in terms of you know, resizing the images, in IRFANVIEW you'll have to go here to Advanced. And right here I have resize. It's already checked. So, but I want to resize these not based on an actual pixel size. I could tell the photos to be less than 1,200 pixels wide or tall here, but I actually want to do it based on a percentage. So I'm going to go set new size as 50%. And that way it's just going to automatically change those images to be 50% smaller than they were. And let's see. And I do, of course, want to preserve the aspect ratio. But beyond that, beyond letting it resize all of those images at once, I can also do a few filters. I don't have as many filters as I do in Photoshop, but I can you know, as a group, change the contrast of some of these images, change the saturation. I can change the color balance. So you could use this to turn some of the images pretty much grayscale or desaturate them, or just, again, all at once change the contrast of the image. Also, if you find that you do this a lot, you can save the settings for some of the things that you want to do to the images. But I'm just going to only really right now change the size for these. So I'm going to hit OK. And I've got those settings in there. And then all I have to do is start that batch process. And again, IRFANVIEW is an open source freeware, but it's never failed me doing this. Even if I do a lot larger files, it always comes through and does it. And again, it's so it saves so much time to be able to do that, you know, all at once. So it just did those 10 files. I got 0 errors and zero warnings. So I'm going to exit this, and I really want to look now And here I am in the folder, and here is my subfolder. And in my subfolder, if I click on one of those, it's now showing me, that those are all smaller. So that's IRFANVIEW. That's how quickly and easily it can do that. So now what I want to do is I want to show you the same technique in Photoshop. So here I am in Photoshop. I always like to open my first image in Photoshop. So I'm going to open this first one. I'm just going to right click on it, open with Photoshop. So there's that same image. Doing batch processes is a little bit different in Photoshop. You can immediately go to File and Automate, and you do see batch, but we have to actually write a little program, some instructions to tell Photoshop what we want it to do. If I were to go to batch, there are some preset actions inside of here. It could place, a channel around the image. It could do a wooden frame. It could do cast shadows. It could do water reflection. All of these different things, but we want to actually write our own action. So I'm going to cancel this so we can see how to make our own action. So to do an action in Photoshop, I'm going to go to Window and Actions. And the way that the actions work is I actually record my keystrokes. I actually record the instructions that or whatever I do to the image. So before I start, I need to create a new action. And what I'm going to do is actually title that action. So I'm going to call this one 50% smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to hit record. And every action or function that I do on the software after this is actually recorded. So of course you just want to do the actions that you want to do. You don't want to take any unnecessary steps. So what I'm going to do to change the size of this image that I'm looking at is and again, it's going to remember these actions and do the same thing to everything in the folder that I aim it at. So now I'm going to go to Image, Image Size, and again it's showing me right here the size 4,000 by 3,000. Also, real interestingly, it's showing me here for some reason that the pixel dimension is making a 34 megabyte file. I don't think that's true, but maybe it is. Maybe it is that big. But again, I want to change the size of this by 50%. So instead of pixels, I'm going to go to %, and 100% is default, the size it is now. So I'm going to go to 50, and but do notice the huge difference in the file size that it's reporting, the difference that it's going to create. That's going to drop in file size, and I do want to keep my proportions. Here's something I don't know if you know about images. If you get a low resolution image, you can come here and increase the bitmap size, the pixel map. You can also increase the resolution. But whenever you're either shrinking stuff or enlarging stuff, if I'm enlarging stuff, I want to do a smoother on it, but I'm shrinking stuff, I want to do a sharpener. So I'm going to choose the sharpener since I'm reducing these images by 50%. So I'm going to hit OK. And it actually did that to that image. That's all I want to do for this one particular action. So I'm going to stop the action. I'm going to stop recording what I'm doing there. Okay? So now I want to do that batch function to the entire folder. So I'm ready now to go to File, Automate, Batch, and it's already on the action that I just wrote. And now I need to choose my folder. I've got it on my thumb drive. I hope it only, oh gosh. I don't know if it's going to do it to the ones in the subfolder too, so this will be interesting. So I've just chose this top folder, and I think it's just going to do it to those. Oh, it won't. because I don't have include subfolder. So it'll only do it to the top folder. And then I need to choose my destination. All right, so I'm going to put it in the same folder there, and or I could make a new folder inside of there. That's probably safer to do. So, but I'm just going to send it in there, and we'll see what happens. And also, at this point, if you want to go ahead and rename this series that you're creating right now, it gives you the ability to go ahead and change that name. You can also add, you know, different things, but you don't have to overcomplicate this part here. But you can, if you like, batch rename. Whoops. You know, and you can put your name and the date and stuff like that. So that's all I want to do to that. So I am going to hit OK. Whoops, let me put that in there again. An extension. Well, if I must choose, I choose PNG. I don't think that's correct, though. Document name, serial number, or... You know, it's actually fully automated, but you still have to tend the process with Photoshop. But again, it's still so much quicker. And what I'll do real quickly also after this finishes is show you how to do a batch filter. Let me do a batch filter. So I am going to just open one, whoops, not in IRFANVIEW though, in Photoshop. So I'm going to do, so I want to write another action. So I'm just going to do a filter action. So I'm going to get my action palette open, and I want to call this one APS filter, and start recording. So it's going to record everything I do to this image and do it to all the other images. So I'm just going to use my filter gallery just to pick something. That's poster edges. All right. So I'm going to do that to it. So that's one filter. Then I'm going to actually put another filter on it. Go back to my filter gallery. Let's see. Actually, I want to do a blur. Let's try a radial blur. And I wish it was giving me a preview of that, but it's not. Okay, that's too much. And it did a little bit of a blur on that, But that's all I want to do, so I'm going to stop that action. And again,